Hi, everyone, and good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope your Thursday is going well so far. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and homebasedtravelagent.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar and thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. Our host today is Scenic Luxury River Cruises, and our speaker is Randy Goodrich. Randy's topic is Bordeaux with Scenic Luxury River Cruises. Randy does travel agent training for both sister cruise lines, Scenic Cruises and Emerald Waterways, and is also a business development manager in many states for both cruise lines. And as always, we really appreciate the support we get from Scenic and Emerald. Before we get started, please remember that you are all muted, but we welcome your questions. You can type in your questions or comments at any time in the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. At the end of Randy's presentation, we'll get to as many questions as we can. So let's get right to all of this exciting information about sailing through Bordeaux with Scenic. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you, Sandy, and thank you for everyone that's participating today to learn more about Scenic as well as lovely Bordeaux. I had the opportunity to take that trip with some friends October of 15, so a little over a year ago. It's a spectacular location, and this is the first time I've made this presentation trying to give you a little different perspective on Scenic and what makes it very special for your clients by actually walking you through this particular itinerary. So I hope you learn a lot about Scenic and also a lot about Bordeaux and can sell it. So with that, let's go for it. First of all, I'll tell you those who have not heard much about Scenic that we're celebrating our 30th year in business. Started in 1986 by Glenn Moroney in Australia. He was a young man out of college, and his dad owned some hotels out in the outback of Australia, and he decided he would try to help his dad fill those hotels up. So he started taking little tours out to Sydney and other places to get people out there. And that eventually grew into tours all over the place. It's got more popular and started marketing throughout Australia and New Zealand, eventually the United Kingdom, and now North America. So he had the luxury tour product, and he still has that, and he's evolved that company into being one of the largest luxury all-inclusive tour programs anywhere in the world. And so he focuses on all-inclusive, including extra events and things like that we'll go through a little bit here on the riverboat side. But he got into the river cruising. Got ahead of myself there. He got into the river cruise business in 2008. Again, he wanted to have a luxury river cruise line, which nobody had done up till then. So he made some special concessions as far as how he built the ships, and he made sure that they all had balconies on the second and third deck, multiple dining choices, some butler service, and that's all evolved into what now are some gorgeous ships, all balconies, butler service for every cabin, extra shore excursions every day, and special events and things like that, to the point where Scenic is the most all-inclusive of all the river cruise companies. And in addition, it was named last year by Cruise Critics. It's gotten lots of global awards, but we finally got our first real award in the U.S. market from Cruise Critics. That's the best shore excursion program. So in our presentation today on Bordeaux, we'll be able to really distinguish those differences for you. So for those who have not been to Bordeaux, I was quite frankly surprised at how beautiful this city was. It wasn't always this way. Originally, it was built, I believe it was the 1700s, by the same architect that the king had built Versailles. And so the kind of the layout of the buildings there is what it looks like here. They're all about the same height and look and feel. But over the last couple hundred years, the city kind of was really focused on import, export, mainly export of wine and things like that. The waterfront area, which is what we're kind of looking at here, was pretty run down. The buildings were pretty grimy and dark. And they got a new mayor, a gentleman who was actually trying to be president of France. And he came back to Bordeaux and has been the mayor now for a while. And kind of like Rudy Giuliani, I guess, in New York, really cleaned up Manhattan. Well, he cleaned up Bordeaux. And they took all the waterfront factories out, things like that. Made this beautiful walking area. This is kind of the very center part of town where this statue is. And then you walk back into those corridors there, and you're in where the shops and hotels. And it's an absolutely lovely town. The river is right behind where I'm taking the picture there. So it's right on the river. So you have the town, and then you have the wine area. This happens to be Rothschild's, one of the most famous wines in the world, over in the Medoc Margaux area, which I'll show you what that is in a minute. This is quite spectacular. Many of these, what they call chateaux in France, the wine chateaux with the beautiful vineyards and outstanding wine. Okay, there's your line. So this is the Scenic Diamond. This is actually the ship that sails Scenic in Bordeaux. It is actually in the shipyards as we speak, being renovated and adding some new features. Last year, 2015 was our first year on in the Bordeaux area, so we learned some things, and we brought the ship back in, and we're adding some very special features to it. One thing to note, though, is you can see originally this ship was built back in 2008 or 9, and then in 2012, the ships that we have built, and we have 17 now, we had about 4 then, they were brought in and retrofitted, and you'll see, I believe the next picture is, yes it is, the newer look of the ships. So the balconies, you can see here, the balconies have railings with a couple deck chairs on them. That looks kind of normal for a balcony. But the new balconies look different. But they are, in fact, balconies. They're enclosed. So they're all weather balconies. If the weather is nice, you can have the window lowered down and open, so you feel like you're on a balcony. But if it starts to get cool or wet or windy or whatever, you can actually push a button and the panel will raise so that you can stay on the balcony no matter what the weather is. Very nice. So our ships, for the most part, on the Rhine-Main-Danube in particular, 443 feet long. That's the long ship. That's as long as you can have a ship on those rivers to make it to the locks and everything. We have 169 passengers, and that includes 1 single cabin, 53 crew. Now, on the new Diamond, we're taking some cabins out to put in a gym and a wellness center on the first deck. So I believe it is 132 passengers. Sorry, I didn't look at that ahead of time. In that neighborhood, it's just a little bit smaller than the ship is the same size, but the number of cabins are fewer. We're adding a cabin category too that's called Royal Owner Suite, where we're putting a couple cabins together. That would be the largest cabin on the rivers, 510 square feet. Lovely. You can also see that the lounge looks very large there. That's the top glass area in the front. And it is about 25% larger than most of the others because Scenic does include all the drinks and everything. And we have 2 of our 6 dining choices are in that area as well. And then the restaurants down below. So here's a picture of the balcony so you can see what it's like. And the second, so if it gets cool out, you can just push the button on the wall there and the second panel goes up. So it's very, very popular. And the door, you just can keep it open all the time if you want. Just close the outer part. And then there's a curtain for a little privacy. So I talked about Scenic being all-inclusive, so all-inclusive to the nth degree. We don't just include beer and wine. We include anything they want for the most part. There's a couple select items that are very expensive that if somebody's having a special occasion, they might want to purchase. But other than that, top spirits, multiple wine, multiple reds, multiple whites, rosés, ports, whatever you want. A lot of good European beers. Those are all included anytime they want it. So no holds barred. Butler service is now for all cabins, and there's even a mini bar in the room that the butler will supply every day with whatever your client wants. But the most important thing that we'll go through when we go through the whole Bordeaux program in a minute are the shore excursions. And so we have multiple, from 2 to 6 different shore excursions every day, very similar to what you see with Regent on the ocean side. And we're compared quite often to Regent, quote, Regent of the rivers, because of the multiple shore excursions and everything to be included. We also have exclusive events. So these are scenic and rich. And I'll show you the one that we do in Bordeaux. But we also do, like in Vienna, it's a private concert in an absolutely gorgeous palace with just our people in it. So things like that, once in a lifetime events that your clients will remember forever. Sundowners is an afternoon wine or cocktail party in some exquisite location that they remember also. And then in the afternoons, quite often there's some free time on the river cruises, and instead of just selling people optional tours, Mr. Moreau doesn't believe in that. He provides them with some tools that they can go out on their own and do their own searching, and also they'll go shopping and things like that without the fear of getting lost or whatever. So we have our tailor-made GPS units. I'll show you that in a little bit. And we have our e-bikes for electric assist so that more people can enjoy the biking experience. Of course, all tips and gratuities are included, and we tip at a very high scale. We have Wi-Fi throughout the ship. Entertainment, there's entertainers on the ship that are with us all the time, as well as we bring entertainers from the shore, as well as there's an entertainment system in each cabin that's an Apple-based system, so they can get on the internet, they can watch the Netflix, they can do emails, they can watch the river view, which tells us where we are, what's coming up on the river, things like that. Laundry concierge, we added this last year in 16. That's very, very popular. Once a week, turn in their laundry and it gets done for them. And this year we have the cruise guarantee, and I'll talk about that later. So there's the award from Cruise Critic for the best shore excursion program. This is also a helpful chart that if you go to rivercruiseadvisor.com, you'll get that. It shows both our brands, Emerald and Scenic. Scenic setting the bar when compared to all the other river cruise companies as having the most inclusions. Some things are very unique that nobody else has, as well as the normal stuff. Emerald, by the way, has 6 different check marks there, and you compare that to a Viking, Avalon, Ama, which are in the same price range as Emerald. So Emerald has gotten the award from Cruise Critic the last 2 years for being the best value in all of river cruising. So that's something to remember when your client's looking for value. If they're looking for everything being included with all the extra stuff, then you want to talk about seating. As far as where we go in Europe, these rivers were the main commercial transportation systems for centuries in Europe. So there's all these wonderful locations that people get to visit, but in a very convenient style by getting on the boat and in Amsterdam and be able to ride all the way to Basel or all the way to Budapest with the river systems, the canals, the locks, things like that. Avail them the opportunity to go to these wonderful locations, spend a good part of a day in each one, and really kind of soak up that culture and history. So you've got the main rivers of the Rhine, Main, and Danube going across Europe, and they actually that wavy thing in the middle is the Main River, which they built back in the 70s, a canal that would connect the Rhine with the Main. And you're actually going uphill in that river up the continental divide of Europe, and then at the other end it comes down through Nuremberg in a canal that connects it with the Danube to take it all the way to the Black Sea. In France, we have the Rhone River down south there that goes into the Mediterranean. Fabulous wine, Roman history, French history, of course. The Seine that goes out to Normandy, ours goes all the way to Honfleur. That puts your client 2 hours closer to Normandy in that area, which is usually the highlight of the trip for most people. And then the Douro, we started last year with our own ship. The first people actually built a ship specifically for the Douro River out of Porto. And then today we're going to talk about Bordeaux. So Bordeaux is not a river. Bordeaux is an area of France. famous for red wines in particular, but also some whites. There's two rivers. There's the Garonne, which is down in the southern part there, down, I don't know if you can see my pointer, but this is the Garonne, and it actually goes up and heads down towards Spain there. It comes out of the mountains there. And then you have the Dordogne, and that's the river here. And this is area out here to the west is actually the Gironde estuary, which is one of the largest estuaries / bays in Europe. Quite a spectacular area. Very high tidal range here, by the way. So the water is not blue like it looks on the map here. It's actually a very, looks like chocolate milk, quite frankly. But that's because of the high tidal range and the rivers coming down. It churns up that silt all the time. There's even an interesting occurrence every day, at least once, when the tide is coming up. If it's coming up at a pretty good clip, it's coming against the current that's coming down, and it forms what's called a bore tide, B-O-R-E, bore tide. You can actually Google bore tide Bordeaux, and there are some videos there of people surfing on that bore tide. So it's a wave that comes upriver. It's very unusual. The boats will usually go out into the middle of the river. When I was there, it turned into a ripple because we were way up in Bourne. So by the time I got up there wasn't much left. But pretty interesting occurrence there that clients will be able to see. Now, the town of Bordeaux is right here. So it's actually on the Gironde River. Then you've got, and on our itinerary, of course, you start here. Now, the itinerary can start in Paris. Quite often people want to spend a day or two in Paris as a free trip, and then they'll quite often take the train down. That train is high speed part of the way, and the other part is currently being updated, so it'll be high speed all the way. Take about an hour off from a 3-hour train ride to a 2-hour approximately. They'll come down, they'll be picked up. We include all transfers, of course, but they're going to be picked up at the train station, or if they fly in at the airport, and then brought to the ship. And the ship area is right kind of just north of downtown, and that's where they start. And then the first day, they're actually going to go up, and there's not a lot of cruising here. We're not cruising down a river like the Rhine or the Danube or something. We're just cruising around this area and to the different wine areas. So the first day, we actually cruise from Bordeaux. We go down the Gironde River into the top of the estuary, turn a hard right, and come up the Dordogne. And we come up right here where this L is. That's Libourne. And that's as far as you can go on that river. There's a very short bridge, small bridge there. Can't get past it. But that's then the dropping off point to where we go on the Libourne itself. It's a cute little town. I'll show you a picture in a minute. And then we go into SaintEmilion one day and spend some time there. Then you have choices the next day. You can go to Moreau, which is another wine area, different than SaintEmilion, even though they're next to each other. SaintEmilion is built on limestone, and this area up here is more a different type of dirt and a lot of rocks, but not the limestone. So the grapes are a little bit different. You can also, one of the choices is go up to Bergerac, which is up in this area here. It's not on the map. Not really a wine area. It's more famous for history. And then what we do is we go from there. The next day, it's a beautiful, beautiful cruise up and down here. I'll show you a picture in a minute. There's all these fishing camps too that I'll show you, little huts that are along the way, but there's also a lot of chateaus, beautiful chateaus and things. So it's a nice cruise back, and we actually go up here to Plow, and this is the north bank, and this is the south bank. And the south bank is where the Margaux, Medoc, St. Julien, some of these wines that are the most famous in the world. And your Rothschild and some others are right here in Margaux. And that's where we have our private dinner. I'll show you in a little bit. And then we go, after spending a wonderful time there, we'll go to Cadillac. So we'll cruise all the way up here, and Cadillac's right up in this area here on the Gironde River. And so there's some different tours and whatnot there that you can do. And then your customer is going to come back down to Bordeaux and have a chance to spend a day and a half in Bordeaux. which again is lovely. So let's talk about our staterooms, just so you know what the choices are. We've got the basic staterooms down to the bottom, too low to have a balcony. So we have a nice big window up in the top for light, but they're 160 square feet, and they are wonderful. They have the Egyptian cottons, the L'Occitane lotions and whatnot. That's all there. Majority of the cabins look like the one in the upper right, and then there's different categories. So the lowest balcony category is C, and then you go up to a P, and then there's a junior suite above that. They all look the same. There's 205 square feet, the majority, and then there's a 225 square foot deluxe category, and then the junior suite's 250 square feet. And they're just wider, so the area from the bed to the chair gets wider. We can't go any deeper in the ship, of course, but beautiful, beautiful colors. I think very natural. Focuses on what's outside, not what's inside so much. When you get into the suites, the Royal Suites, Royal Panorama, on this ship, the Royal Owner Suite, you're going to have a bathroom with bathtub. The others have a shower, and the large showers, lots of water pressure, 3 different shower heads, so really nice, lots of storage, things like that. So, and then you get the Royal Suite, which on the older ships, like the Diamond, is going to be 315 square feet. And the newer ships, the last 3 years or so that we built, we've made those a little bit larger. Now I'm going to show you, I think in a minute, I'm going to show you the new Royal Owner Suite, which is going to be on the Diamond in Bordeaux, and also on the Sapphire, which is our ship on the Rhone River. And it actually combines these two. So we've taken one of these and combined it with one of these to make a 510 square foot 2-bedroom. And in the middle, 1 bedroom, 2 bath, but in the middle they put a large balcony. So it's a much larger balcony with the ability to actually have a table with 4 people sitting around it. So you'll see that in just a second. But this is the Royal Panorama Suite. This is not on the Diamond, this particular 1-bedroom. It's got a 1-room suite, which is 375 square feet. These new ones, these new 1-bedrooms on our newer ships, the Opal, the Jasper, some of those, the Gem on the Seine, these are 475 square feet. They're just lovely. They're in the back of the ship, but they're very hard to get. They sell quite quickly, usually the first thing to go. And here's the new category, which is just being built as we speak. So you see you've got this area here, the bedroom, walk-in wardrobe, large bathroom, and this is the balcony, so it's much larger than the other ones, and a living area here. You even have a bar. So what more could a person want while they're cruising on the rivers? Dining, we have the crystal dining room. We have that takes everybody on board in one seating if they want. Beautiful. Great food, buffet breakfast plus a la carte, buffet lunch plus a la carte, beautiful a la carte dinners. Then you have portobellos. Portobellos, but in France we call it l'amour. So for the Bordeaux trip, it's l'amour, and these people sitting in that area. It's in the front of the lounge. So if you look down the lower right here, there's the main lounge bar, and all the way to the front of the ship, there's a sitting area out there that's changed and transformed in the afternoon to this lovely 5-course dining experience for people. Now, these guys are a little dressed up. I typically will put a sport coat on for perhaps this and a couple other things, but certainly not required. But these are very exquisite dinners, lots of wine, lovely being up there. A little bit higher than the restaurants, and the visibility is quite great. So really, really nice. And then we have table de rive, which is the only dining area we have that's restricted because it's like a chef's table. We have seating for around 10 or 12 people per night. We obviously can't take everybody on board. So the people, your clients who are on the Diamond deck, will have or in junior suite on the Sapphire second deck, we'll have a private invitation from the chef to take place. Now, either one of these, l'amour or the table de rive, you just simply, your client just checks with the butler, their butler, and the butler can help make those reservations or they can go to the front desk. The River Cafe, one of my favorite places, is actually right here by the bar. No correlation too much, but in the morning, At 6:30, you can have an early breakfast latte, things like that, light breakfast. There's an area here that's like an all-day deli. So it's kind of meant to be fast food, meant to be not fast food in the McDonald's standpoint, but in a deli where you can go in and get a sandwich or a soup or a salad, sit down and eat it, or take it with you and they'll pack a picnic lunch, whatever you want. And it's always got some nice sweets there. And the coffee stations, there's two of them, two of these coffee machines that are some of the most expensive in the world to make every kind of coffee concoction people could think of. Tea, being an Australian company, we have a lot of British on board. We have a whole tea menu. I don't know how many pages, but it's a pretty good size. So not too much we're not including there. Or if you want a Bloody Mary or whatever for breakfast, sure, whatever. And then, so the River Cafe is open all day, and then in the evening, of course, at dinner time, it converts back to just being a bar area. We have alfresco dining on the top deck on certain days when we're traveling up and down those rivers we talked about. And then, of course, all beverages are included anytime and 24-hour room service. So let's talk about the free choice. This is our shore excursion. This is a picture here. Actually, that's a picture of, I believe it's called Bly area. But we're going to talk a little bit and show you what in the Bourne, which I showed you on the map. So here are a whole bunch of different things you can do. So during the day, you can take a guided tour of Le Bourne and its 10th century townhouse and church, or you can go to the exclusive estate of Chateau Franquemine. And this is a Grand Cru wine area I'll show you a picture in a minute of a cave that's built into the limestone, and that's actually that winery. That's very nice. Or you can go to Bergerac, very historic, and have a full bois tasting. And then after that, the ship would start to sail back down the river to go to Pauillac, and you can go to the new Scenic Colonnaire. So the Scenic Colonnaire is something that's being built right now as we speak. This is being built on the Diamond and also the Sapphire and the Rhone to be a French cooking class area. It's going to be in the dining room at the very front as you enter, and to the left, as I've been told, is going to be the Colonnaire. It's a beautiful setup. It was written in Travel Weekly recently. You might have seen it. A nice picture of the rendition of it. There's a big TV set, so there's 10 people per day, per time can participate in this. They'll sign up once they get on board. But it should be quite spectacular. The chef will explain to them how to prepare and cook the various food. Of course, they get to taste it too. And I think it's all being recorded, so they can take that with them. Or they can simply relax up in the balcony or go up on the sun deck. I was there. We sat in the sun deck. It was a gorgeous day, and just hung out. And then that evening is a beautiful dinner with entertainment that comes up from the shore on board. So quite the experience. So SaintEmilion itself, if you haven't been there, is very, very ancient city. Back in the 600s or 700s, I believe, SaintEmilion himself, who was a monk, came into this region and settled. You can actually, in the tour, go to the area, the cave that he settled in, and see where he used to sleep, and his little well was there. Quite amazing. And next to that's the big church, which the old church was actually built down in the limestone, so it's underground, and the new church is up above. But pretty cool. Lots of wine shops, of course. There is a very famous. If you guys drink wine, you know that if you've gone to restaurants, you always if they have many French wines, they'll have SaintEmilion on the menu. I show the picture of the lower right. Just it is on a hillside, and it's built, and it's some of these areas are not meant for people that can't walk too well. So it's pretty steep, and the cobblestones that have been around for a couple thousand years. So it can be a little bit challenging for some people. It also is famous for its macaroons, by the way, which is fabulous. This picture on the right, that is going into the cave there at that one winery. So this whole area is built upon limestone, and so they quarried the limestone. So this is not a natural cave. This is where they quarried and they cut out the limestone blocks to build the buildings, to build the church, things like that. You can see on the lower left there. That's all limestone that they used to build. But it's also an area where the winery store a lot of their barrels of wine. So it's pretty cool. You can walk throughout it. It goes on for miles. They had to actually stop doing the quarrying because it started the stability of the upper area started to be in question. There was one cave in, I guess, and they said, that's enough. Now, that picture on the lower left, that is actually where you enter. You have to be on a tour, not just anybody can go in there. That's where you enter where SaintEmilion himself lived. You walk down below that into a cave, and to the right is where the old church is that's underground, and it's quite spectacular. That afternoon, after you visit SaintEmilion, we have one of our sundowners. Our sundowners are an afternoon wine or cocktail party in a fabulous location. It happens to be in this chateau, which is, you can see it when you go to SaintEmilion. You look across the fields of the vineyards, and that's the chateau we go to. It was very, very nice, very entertaining, great wine and hors d'oeuvres, and then it is a working winery. So people interested in that will really, really appreciate it. Next day, one of the choices is to go over to Moreau. Now, the picture on the lower right, that is Le Borgne. So that's the old steeple in Le Borgne and whatnot, and that's the jumping off point to go to these SaintEmilion, Moreau, and Bergerac, those areas. I seem to have the same picture I had in the other one, so that's cool. But the Moreau, that's the picture on the upper right, is just the vineyards in one of the Chateau wineries there, and Petrus being one of the world famous wines from that particular area. When you're cruising down the Dordogne River, you'll go across some of these wonderful chateaus, like the bottom there. Beautiful, beautiful places, mainly built by the French royalty or really big wine merchants and people like that. You also see these fishing huts, and there's hundreds of them on both the rivers. And these are actually owned by the government, and people will rent them for a day or whatever, and they'll use these nets to fish. So it's kind of interesting. Some are colorful, whatever. And then this is Plow on the right, and the old fortress, the citadel in that area. The Cognac is an excursion that we do that's an all-day excursion. It might seem different than the wine experience, but I was actually kind of surprised, being a little naive, I guess. I didn't know Cognac was made from wine, but it's a double distilling process that makes the Cognac quite interesting. It was really Remy Martin throughout the red carpet for us. We typically go to Remy Martin, but that's Hennessy on the right side there. That's in downtown. Cognac, Remy Martin's a little bit out of town. Really spectacular. These places have been making Cognac forever. It all seems to, for the most part, famous stuff comes from this area because of the type of grapes they grow there. And that's the tasting room down below, so you get to taste everything from the regular Remy Martin Cognac you'd find in the store to some pretty exquisite stuff that can be very, very expensive. So really a nice experience. Nice drive to the countryside there, too. The Sauterne area, now these are more of your white kind of dessert wines, somewhat sweet. This will be up the river from Bordeaux, and you go up like the Cadillac area. So you go into this one winery, and there's our scenic bus there. So you can see these beautiful buses, they're hard to miss. Our own drivers, things like that. That's just a view of the river, one of the sunsets. And then when we go to the Medoc Margaux area, it's when we go out do some wine visits and whatnot during the day, but in the evening we all load into the bus and we take about a half an hour ride out to this beautiful vineyard countryside with the various chateaus and whatnot, and just down the street from where Rothschild and Lafite and some of those world famous wineries are is Chateau Guescourt. And you drive in there, there's the chateau, and we don't quite go into the chateau, we take a right, and we have this beautiful wine reception you can see down at the bottom there, and they're drinking their Moreau wine, which was, if you like red wine, it's some of the best in the world. And then actually over to the left of that picture from where they're doing the tasting is what used to be a barn, housing animals there. And so now it's a beautiful dining facility, a huge fireplace in there that they light up. And so you have this exquisite dinner with the wines and also with lovely entertainment. So once in a lifetime experience. So here's a Chateau Latour there. There are actually some, we were there in October, so it was harvest season. You could see that there's some of the places that was Latour actually using the old horse and plow to take care of the fields. Just one of the chateaus down the lower right, and that guy was quite a character, grinding up the grapes, getting ready to make some great wine. That's Rothschild again on the left, and on the right, when you go up towards Cadillac in that area, one of the choices to go visit is which I'll goof up the name, I never get it right, Rothschild. It's where it was actually founded by Charlemagne, this area, and Pope Clement built. They built an original castle that was just off to the left. It's pretty run down. That's Charlemagne hung out, but they realized as they started getting attacked, whatever, that the water source was over here, so they rebuilt the castle above the well, so they could in fact stay in there for quite a while. There's a family that still lives there, and you get to tour the whole castle. They've renovated it. It's lovely. It's quite an experience, and there's a moat there. It doesn't have any water in it. It's got a couple goats. They're very friendly, but it's quite an experience for your customers that are intrigued by these castles. Then at the end, we actually had our dinner. This is my group, and we had our dinner, a cocktail party in Moreau, because facing through that window, it's downtown Bordeaux, which is a lovely site, kind of a good way for us to end the trip. But it's a great experience. These river cruises take a group, whether it's a group of, we take 5 cabins, make a group in our case, so 10 people or 20 or 40. It's just a wonderful experience. The Scenic takes care of everything, and people just sit back and have a great time, eat, drink, and be merry. So that's the name of the game. A couple of special features to talk to you about. The tailor-made system. This is last year's model. It changes every year. It's proprietary. We have it built just for Scenic customers, but it's quite the game changer for your clients, because it gives them lots of opportunity to see and experience these wonderful locations to the nth degree. So there's 2 of them in each cabin. So each one of the passengers will have one of these to use each day. If they go on a guided trip, then they'll be told to listen to channel 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the guide is on, and they can listen to the guide. But if they want to go out in the afternoon and walk around, but would like to have it be somewhat of a synchronized tour on some kind of subject. So in Bordeaux, it might be going to different wine shops or different historical focuses. It will actually walk them around just like a GPS will in your car, guide you around, but it will also let you know what you're looking at. So it'll give you some history of each one of the stops. If you want to walk around without having any kind of a formatted tour of any type, just walk to go shopping or whatever, you can do that. Again, like the GPS in your car, you don't put an address in, but you have the map up. You can see where your car is, what street you're on, and all that. And same thing here, as you're walking along, you'll have the map will be activated, and you can see where you are. There's a red dot, that's the boat. But the other cool thing it does is it will ping. You have an earpiece, you have the earpiece in your ear, and you will be pinged if you're coming around something that is a quote point of interest that's been preloaded into the system. So it may be a church, a statue, a castle, whatever it might be, but you won't miss it. It will at least tell you that. You can forget it, go by it, or you can stop and listen to a little history about it. So it's very cool. And then, of course, it helps you get back to the ship. And you can use it on board as well. So we have a running commentary called Riverview, which is always telling you where we are in the river, what's coming up, so you don't miss things. It might be a beautiful church or castle, something coming up, and so everybody go off to the right or left side of the ship to view that. You won't miss it. So they're just wonderful units to have, and I understand that this year the upgrade, I believe, don't hold me to it, but I think it's two-way communication. So actually, we're going to, if your client could call back to the ship if they need something or need some information about, where to find a pharmacy or whatever, the ship is there to help them. So very cool. And our bikes, instead of regular bikes, we have e-bikes. So we have usually on the Bordeaux trip, we have at least one, if not two, guided bike trips. But it's a wonderful area in Bordeaux. It's pretty flat. Wonderful area to take these bikes, but if you're going up the hill, you turn on the electricity and it gives you a boost up the hill if you get tired. But the bikes really give people the ability to get out beyond where the normal touristy things are and really see the countryside or how people live, etc., or just get some good exercise. I kind of went through this already on the upgrades, but not the cruise guarantee. So the cruise guarantee is something really novel. We're the first people to do it in the cruise industry, but there are issues, as you most likely know, with high water, low water, mechanical breakdowns, the locks, bridges, the ship, labor strikes, things that really beyond our control, but they can upset the itinerary to the point where the customer is not going to have the experience they paid for, so we'll give them their money back. So we're the first to do that. And that's all explained in the brochure, our 2018 brochure. Pre-release brochure just came out. So what that means is that our itineraries and dates are in there. The pricing has not changed from 2016. That will change in May when the full brochure comes out. So now is really the best time to start to talk to your client about doing a beautiful trip to Bordeaux in 2018 at a very good price with air incentives and things like that. So the different air incentives are not just economy air, but we have some premium economy. It depends on the itinerary. They can get an air credit or they can get a business class deal. We talked just lastly about our agent portal. It's a great resource for agents. You want to have your agency registered. If you are working through a host or a consortia of some type, you want to make sure you register under your agency's registration. So become an agent underneath that, so you make sure you get the correct commission, etc. Our sales support people, your local ones will be listed there. I'll show you those later too. Order brochures here. We have our new ocean ship, the Eclipse, which is coming out in 2018 and almost sold out. There's a competition for that. You have to register, and then as you sell it, your name will be put in the hat. Express Book, that is our booking engine. I'll show you more about that in a minute. And Scenic Specialist is where you can learn more about us. But if you take that course, I suggest you do it before you make your first booking or next booking, because you'll get an additional bonus commission. The Express Book booking engine is the quickest way to get availability, and then you can create a quote or book it. So you simply need to know the booking code, so in this case, Bordeaux, BOD. Put in the date, May 18, 2 people. That's all you have to do. Bang. This is everything that's available. And it comes across like this, one-liners, and then if you click the plus, it will detail what type of suites are still available. So here, the Royal Owner Suite, the new category, is in there and still available. You have your beginning pricing. The deposit is $500 per person, non-refundable. And that's for your lowest category, category E, and then you add this. So for a beautiful 10-day cruise, Bordeaux, and that highest price category, is around $11,000 per person. It goes down from there. Then you can also see which discount, pre-booking discount is available, whether it be free air, reduced air, air credit, whatever it might be, depending on the particular itinerary. They will change. They'll be different on dates too, as it gets to sell out. And you will actually find that some of these will go away. You can actually see a picture on the ship, the deck plan. The cabins that have a number are still available. So here your new Royal Owner Suite, that largest suite is right here. These are a Royal Panorama in the back. The one highlighted, this is a Royal Suite. So next category. The Junior Suites are typically right here next to the elevator. And there's your lowest category down at the bottom. This is our single cabin. It's right here on the second deck with a balcony. But there's a little stairwell right there, so we put a single bed in. So groups, again, groups are a great opportunity. It only takes 5 cabins, 9 people to do a group, and we'll help you out any way we can with flyers and presentations. But it's a great way for you to, number one, make some more money. Number two, perhaps the group will bring in some more people that aren't currently clients of yours, and you'll grab those. And I just encourage you, if you get, especially if you get 2 or 3 people that come in, couples that book, just talk to them about what a great experience it is for friends to go on one of these trips. And there's a very good chance that some of their friends are thinking about taking a river cruise, and we'll go with them. So, and when you get our documents, about 30 to 45 days prior to departure, you'll get real documents, document case, and each customer gets a backpack that they can take with them on the trip and use every day as they go out and about. This is a list of our contacts for the United States. If you're from Canada, you'll need to go to the Canadian site and find your contacts there. I don't think I mentioned too much about specials or anything other than the air deals. Those are different in Canada, but obviously all the other information is pertinent. And with that, Sandy, I'll take some questions.
Okay, fantastic. That was a wonderful presentation. I felt like I was there on the Bordeaux cruise along with those pictures. We do have several.
I wish I was back there.
Yeah, I bet. Start a group. We have several questions. We'll get to as many as we can. A couple of our agents commented that the map that you showed of the rivers of Europe was really helpful in understanding the geography. Is that map available on the Scenic website for them to download?
I'm not sure if it is or not. I think they sent it to me, so it could be. You just have to be able to find it. That's, websites nowadays have so much information, it's hard to find things. Since you mentioned that, one, if you really want it, just send me an email. There's my email, randy.goodrich@scenicusa.com. I'll send it to you. But we have lots of videos. I can't show videos on these GoToMeeting things, just because everybody's got different type of computer and different internet hookups, so it doesn't work too well. But we have a lot of videos. There's some on Bordeaux itself, so you could. We have lots of them on the ship, lots of them on like how the tailor-made system works, about the Scenic and Rich events. So you can take those and simply copy the URL and send them to your client. But there are some on the destinations, Bordeaux being one, Danube, Rhine, whatever. So lots of stuff there. You can find it on the website, or you can simply go YouTube Scenic Cruises, and it'll pop up.
Okay, so I hope all of our agents are jotting down the contact information for your particular BDM. And we also have had a request that you go back to the slide that shows the booking site for Scenic. So people, and if you could mention what the URL is, that would.
Oops. Way back. For the Scenic booking engine, right here.
Okay, and do you know the URL for that off the top of your head?
Well, no, because the URL to get into the booking engine is scenicusa.com/agent-porto.
Okay. So
that's it right there, and that'll get you into all those features. And then one of those is going to be the engine. But you got to get registered. You have to have a username and password to get into that engine, and that username and password should be under whoever your host agency is. so that you make sure you get the right commissions and whatnot.
Okay,
We have
excellent.
lots of people. We have lots of agents that go and register separately, and then they wonder why they're not getting the same commission. That's because the system has no way of knowing that you're associated with that particular company.
Right, right. This is an interesting question. For a first-time river cruiser, do you have a favorite itinerary or one that you would avoid for first-timers?
So I think maybe I better go back to that in case somebody misses that. The most popular one out there is the Danube for all the river cruise companies. I think because a little bit of the mystique in Eastern Europe, plus you get to go to Vienna, which is gorgeous. What is the name of that place? Is Budapest, which is fantastic. Nuremberg is a very interesting place. Most people will combine that with the 3-night pre or post in Prague. Prague's not on the river, so it's an excursion up to Prague, but Prague's fantastic. That's probably the most popular. The second most popular is the Rhine, because it's familiar to people. And then what's become really popular is the Seine, especially with our new boat itinerary that actually was built so it could go out into the open water to get over to Honfleur. Not too many do that. I think it's just ourselves and one other company. The other companies, it's an additional 2 hours plus sitting in a bus to get down to Normandy. But that's very popular. Of course, Bordeaux. Now, Bordeaux isn't. We've changed the itinerary, so there's a little bit more cruising involved, but it's not so much a cruise as it is a wine experience, a fabulous one. The Rhone I like a lot because it's got a really nice combination of wine and a variety of different wines as you go up or down the river, but also a very interesting history of France and the Roman influence there too. So that's a good one. And as I mentioned to you earlier, Sandy, I'm going on the Black Sea Explorer, which we only do in the springtime, and it goes, you go Bucharest, Budapest, basically, but you go to the Black Sea. That's a very interesting part of the world I don't know too much about, so I'm looking forward to learning that, and that's a lot of the reason why most people take river cruises, just learn more about this interesting history, which a lot of us, our ancestors were part of it. A couple that are very interesting and probably maybe not so much for first-time cruisers, but the one that we do in the Netherlands and Belgium, only in the springtime, at the end of April, first week of May, there's 2 or 3 sailings. That's very interesting, especially if your customer likes flowers. The Cognac gardens are in full bloom. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And then the last one would be the Christmas cruises. So they are very popular in November and even into December. Not the warmest, but certainly those the small villages as well as the big cities just lay out the carpet for Christmas with all their Christmas markets, things like that. Right, and then last but not least, of course, is we have several sailings down on the Mekong and the Irrawaddy in Southeast Asia. So those are a little bit better for wintertime travelers. If they want to go in January someplace warm, that's a great alternative for them.
Okay, that's a great menu of river cruises, and we're looking forward to seeing pictures of your Black Sea cruise at a future
Yeah.
presentation. We'll get to a couple of other questions, and I want to urge our agents. We're not going to get to all these questions, but if you have questions that we did not have a chance to ask, please do contact your BDM, and you can get all your questions asked, or check the Scenic website. A lot of the answers are on there. Can you give us a quick thumbnail sketch of the demographics of who sails on Scenic, and also are there extra charges for anything, any of the restaurants or the laundry service, or what can clients expect to pay extra for?
Well, if anybody can tell me the last time they went to a hotel and checked in and they didn't want your credit card, let me know. But that in fact is what happens on Scenic. When they check in, we don't take their credit card, we don't take their passport, we just give them the card so they can get into their room and introduce them to their butler. 90% of the people don't owe us a cent when they check out. Used to be a little less than that, but now we include laundry service because there was a small charge for laundry. So the only thing they can pay money for, there's one masseuse on board that they can pay to have a massage. It's a hairdresser that they can pay to have their hair done. In my case, I don't need that. And there is an extended wine and champagne list. This is high-end, $100 plus stuff. If they're having a special occasion, they could buy. Really, not, especially in Bordeaux, not necessary. One thing I didn't mention about Bordeaux that's very unique to Scenic is the wineries that we go to, which we go to more than anybody else I've heard of goes to. So if people want to focus on wine, they don't have to. Every day there's an alternative, but we actually include those wines on board the ship. So when you go to have that dinner in Moreau and have that fabulous Moreau wine, your customer falls in love with it. They can have it on board the ship too. So that's pretty spectacular. But the only other thing you pay for is like a gift shop, and the gift shop is actually a window that's got a couple necklaces or a little display stand with a couple necklaces and maybe a watch, something like that. So that's all you can spend money on. Everything else is included, the exclusive events, all that stuff is included.
Okay, fantastic. And a quick question about the average age, the demographic of the average passenger.
Oh, the demographic, yeah. So 3.5 years ago when I started working with Scenic, demographic was, slanted towards Australia and New Zealand. The ships, the itineraries tended to be longer, 2 to 3 weeks, because that's what they travel for a month at a time. Since then, we have changed the itineraries to more 10-day itineraries, and of course started marketing much more heavily in the U.S. market. And 70% of our business comes through the trade. So you all have been doing a great job of getting the word out for us, and the demographics has changed dramatically. We're seeing much more, many more people from North America, and what I have seen most recently, very roughly, it's a third. A third of the people are from Australia, New Zealand. A third of the people from the United Kingdom and other spots like South Africa, English-speaking areas of the world, and then another third is now North America. So it actually creates a very wonderful experience, in my opinion, where you can, these are very quaint, very wonderful areas on these ships and the tours where you get to meet people. And instead of everybody being from the United States or North America, you have people that are from halfway around the world that you can spend some time with and chat about their life and what's important to them, etc., and get to know them, create some pen pals or whatever. It's really a wonderful experience.
That is excellent. Really does sound like a great way to meet people you wouldn't normally meet in your normal life, in your regular life, which is one of the joys of travel. Yeah. Well, I am afraid our hour is just about over. We do have many questions that we didn't have time to get to. So again, I urge our agents to check the Scenic website or get in touch with your business development manager, who will be able to answer all of your questions. Our speaker today has been Randy Goodrich, Scenic Luxury River Cruises travel agent trainer and a business development manager. Randy, as always, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Just go away with that thought. So the wine's waiting for your customers.
Sounds good to us. And thank you again to all of our agents who participated in this webinar today. We appreciate your being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Good luck selling.